Appreciate everybody tuned in right now. If you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, would appreciate that enormously. We are a little bit under our goal of 100 likes per show. So if you could like the video, we will have, or everybody who's tuned in right now likes the video, will be well over that goal of 100. So thank you in advance for that. And we're going to keep on rolling here. Let's talk about another game here. Biggest game of the week, actually. And we did not anticipate it being the biggest game of the week when we first looked at the schedule and saw how things could maybe shake out. Notre Dame goes to Durham, North Carolina to play Duke. Y'all, Duke is undefeated. Duke is ranked. Notre Dame's the one with the loss, actually. Now, Notre Dame, to be fair, they just played Ohio State, and they took them down to the wire. Notre Dame's still favored by 5.5 points. This is 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Notre Dame is now in playoff mode. They're in playoff mode. You hate the way that game ended against Ohio State. Had 10 men on the field. It hurts. Felt like you played well enough to win, but even so, another loss for Notre Dame would disqualify them from the college football playoff race. This is a game that you probably didn't expect to have the kind of hype that it does right now. Didn't expect to have College Game Day in back-to-back weeks, but you do if you're Notre Dame. Now this one's in Durham, North Carolina, but even so, how do you bounce back? Because that one, I promise you, is just a heartbreaker. It's gut-wrenching. It knocks you down, takes the air out of you a little bit if you're Notre Dame. How do you respond? Because it's not a spot now where you get to kind of just roll out there and eventually put it together in the second half. Like, this is going to be a thing where Duke is going to press you from the jump. They're going to be physical. They're going to play a brand of football that could give you issues. And they have nothing to lose, man. Like I say, they have nothing to lose in the sense that, again, nobody is probably going to pick Duke to win this football game. We'll see what happens when College Game Day picks this one, but like there's not going to be an overwhelming majority saying, yep, give me Duke over Notre Dame. Right? I mean, Duke is playing with house money in that sense, but also it's not an ACC game for them. Right? Like this is not a game that's going to impact their ultimate goal of playing for an ACC title. So for them, it's like, cool, we got College Game Day in town. You would imagine there's a pretty solid crowd that turns out in this game. Night game. You got a quarterback that's in NFL draft talks right now, like a top 5 guy in terms of quarterbacks that have come off the board. This is house money for Duke. Duke's saying, all right, let's ride, baby. And I cannot wait to watch this one. Matchup for me is Notre Dame's offensive physicality against what Mike Elko and Tyler Santucci scheme up. Tyler Santucci, the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame. Mike Elko, pretty well documented, a defensive guy. For Duke to win this football game, they need to push the responsibility on the Notre Dame pass catchers. Like, they have shown that they can do it in spurts, but I think they want to make sure that it's a thing where, hey, if we lose this football game, it's not because you just ran the football on us at will, because that's what Notre Dame wants to do now. Make no mistake about it. They are a 57% run team. Like, that's the balance, I suppose, in play calling for them. 57% of the time, 57% of the time they are running the football. And Audric Estime is a big reason why you run the football 57% of the time, along with that offensive line. Duke needs to get stops in the run game. There's nothing novel about that. There's nothing super analytical about that. They need to find a way to get a better push up front. Because what I've seen so far from Duke, and the reason why I factor in Mike Elko and Tyler Santucci into this matchup, Duke has not looked phenomenal against the run. They've allowed 200 yards rushing or right around that against Clemson. Still find a way to win that football game. The key for Notre Dame against Duke is to live in 3rd and short. Duke wants to force like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. If you can live in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, mission accomplished. We'll live with the result. Now, Sam Hartman probably still has a thing or two to say about that, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But this whole matchup comes down to negative plays on 1st and 2nd down for this Duke defense. You can get a tackle for a loss on 2nd down, good things are going to happen for your defense. Or at the very least, you're better prepared for your defense to be set up against that Notre Dame pass, and you force Jaden Greathouse to get open. You force Tobias Merriweather to get open. You say, okay, beat us on the back end. If you can beat us on the back end, we think we've done our job. And that's how they want to live. Now, the other matchup I'm watching is Riley Leonard against the team speed of this Notre Dame defense. The way this Duke offense works, man, they put a lot on Riley Leonard's plate. Like, they do a lot of quick game with him. They do a lot of RPO game with him. And a lot of what it comes down to for Duke offensively, they ask Riley Leonard to make good decisions and quick decisions consistently. Now, Riley Leonard has not seen a defense like Duke to this point. Notre Dame is allowing 49% completion percentage on the year. That's top 5 in the country. And they played against Kyle McCord last week, played against Brennan Armstrong. Like, they've seen some quarterbacks with some ability. And I think for Notre Dame, those windows that Riley Leonard was throwing into earlier, they're going to close a little bit quicker. Those decisions that you were making before, you have a little bit less of a shot clock now to make those decisions. And so if Riley Leonard is on the money with these decisions, then the Duke offense is built to have answers. Like, it's built to have options to throw to regardless of what the defense does, or have a run play built in there, obviously, with the RPO scheme. They're going to score points if Riley Leonard makes good decisions. Now, he's got to make them on time. He can't make the good decision too late because that just ultimately ends up being a bad decision. We'll talk about that. But I think they'll score points if he's on his P's and Q's. That's just the way this offense is built. Keep an eye on Jalen Calhoun in this game for Duke. Probably their best wide receiver they have on that roster. If they're going to win the football game, he has to be a factor in the pass game. Okay, now, if Riley Leonard is a little bit slow to make his right decision, a little bit off the game a little bit in terms of seeing the defense, and it's a little bit quick for him, and he's making the right decision too late, well, then that's going to lead to turnovers. All right? It's going to lead to turnovers. At best for Duke, it would lead to like a, hey, let's figure it out kind of conversation on the sideline. And if that happens, man, you have empty possessions against Notre Dame. One, you may not see the football for a while based on how Notre Dame, I expect, they will run the football with Audric Estime and how they get down offensively. Also, you may have to start playing catch-up with how I think they're going to score against Duke because of what they have on that line of scrimmage. So that's going to be very crucial. The team speed of Notre Dame and the decisions and the timeliness of the decisions for Riley Leonard based on what they have in this offense. Now, the differentiator to me in this game is Sam Hartman. Like a year ago for Notre Dame in this game, regardless of who you had playing quarterback, you probably, if you're Duke, could have just sold out for the run game and said, quarterback, you got to beat us. I don't think Duke can live that way against Notre Dame in this football game. I think the major key for Sam Hartman now is he can't get greedy and turn it over, because there's going to be plays to be made, especially off play action when they get that run game going a little bit with Audric Estime. There's going to be plays to be made, but you got to put it on the money, got to be on time. And if you're late and you do make that error, Duke will turn you over. They are really good in terms of turning you over. They have 2 takeaways a game right now. It's top 20 in the country is the Duke defense. Now, Sam Hartman, knock on wood if you're a Notre Dame fan, I won't knock on the table right now because you all have told me you don't like it when we do that during this podcast, but he has not thrown an interception yet. So he's been flawless. Duke has forced a lot of turnovers. If Sam Hartman is able to be the version of Sam Hartman you've seen to this point in the year, if you're a Notre Dame fan, they're going to win this football game, and you're going to be able to be really balanced and take advantage of both the run game and the pass game against this Duke defense. So what it comes down to for me, I think Notre Dame's line of scrimmage is just going to be too powerful for Duke. Like, they've got Joe Alt, who's going to make a ton of money in the NFL here pretty soon. They've got Audric Estime, who's first team all downhill. Like, they're going to pound the rock against Duke. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I think Duke is going to give them a little bit of trouble early. I think they're going to swing hard, especially in that first half. I think they will have something dialed up for them offensively. I think Riley Leonard will give them all they can handle in that first half. But in the second half, man, I think Duke is going to be overmatched from a depth standpoint against that Notre Dame run game. And I think that the pass game eventually does open up for Sam Hartman. Explosive plays happen. So I think Notre Dame wins this game. I think Notre Dame covers. Final score 27-17 for the Fighting Irish. And think about this now for Notre Dame. If you win this football game on the road against a ranked opponent and you're fighting and scratching and clawing for your college football playoff life, you didn't expect this to be the matchup it was going to be or have the hype that it has right now. But if you win this football game, nice little notch in the resume belt. So Notre Dame, I think, wins this football game, but this will be a phenomenal matchup. I think it all comes down to physicality for the Fighting Irish to eventually get it done on the road in Durham, North Carolina. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.